Okay, so for this one, we want to take a look at how this program works. And then it looks like we need to add code to make it work completely. So let's go ahead and press run. And if we press run, if I share my audio here, let me make that a little bit lower. Okay, so when we press run, we hear some music, and that's happening because that will happen regardless of what the user does, right? It's outside of any event handlers here. So that's line number 1 that plays that sound. Then we see 2 different event handlers. Actually, we shouldn't see 2 different event handlers. That's the solution. Forgot to refresh this, sorry. Okay, so now if we look at the code, there's only 1 event handler. We have to add the second one. So there's an event handler for our details button, which is this guy right here, this blue button. And it says if you click on the details button, it's going to set the screen to the detail screen. So we should see this entire screen change if we click this. So now we see that happen. And this is something that you're going to want to do when you start programming your own applications. You're going to have to, add event handlers to your buttons so that you can navigate to different screens. All right, so what we want to do is we want to make it so that when we click on this go back button, we switch back to our home screen. Right now, there's not an event handler, so we can click on it all day, but nothing's going to happen. So let's go ahead and reset that. And what we want to do is we want to drag in another one of these event handlers, right? So we're going to go ahead and click and drag. And the first thing it's going to ask us for is what element do we want to add an event handler to? And we want to add it to this go back button. So this one right here, go back button. So we're going to go ahead and click this arrow and we're going to select go back button. And then second, we want to tell it what action to actually listen for. And we can just keep it as click because that's what we want to listen for is a click action or click event on this go back button. Now we want to tell it what to do when we click on the go back button. So let's see, what do we want to do? We want to make it switch back over to our home screen right here. Okay, so we want to do something similar to this, but instead of saying go to the detail screen, we want to say go to the home screen. So we're going to find the set screen function here, and that should be still in the yellow section here. We're going to go ahead and click and drag that over into our on event block. The last step we have to do is tell it which screen to switch to, and if we look back here, it's called home screen. And so all we have to do is select that from the drop down. Okay, so now we can go ahead and test that out. We can click on the event details button. That part already worked. But now if we click on the go back button, it'll also navigate back to our home screen. Okay. Any questions on this one? And I know some people are having tech issues. That's fine, I'm recording, so I'll be posting this after class if you need to watch it again to do it on your computer. Okay, and if you came in a little late, we're now going to be working on, we just did puzzle 6, we're now going to be doing puzzle 7. So I'm gonna go, you can go ahead and press finish. And now we're gonna work on this music player one. So let me go ahead and refresh this one. So this music player one is going to have one of those logic errors. And remember, a logic error is an error that does not prevent the yeah, it is really annoying because the songs keep playing, right? So a logic error is that the program doesn't break, but it behaves in a way that you did not expect. And this one, yes, like Seth said, can be really annoying. So let's find out why it's so annoying. Let's go ahead and just run this and then let's talk about like what the heck is going on. So let's run it. And then notice that there's an event handler for the up button. And if we click it, it's going to expose a down button, a play button, and a stop button. That's what this means. Set the property to hidden is false, meaning that they're not going to be hidden anymore. Okay, so let's go ahead and click that. And so it unhides those 3 buttons, and now we can actually click them. So if we want to play some music, we can press play. Okay, that's totally fine. And then, you know, as a normal user, you might say, okay, well, I'm done playing. I'm going to go ahead and hide that menu and then, you know, do my thing, go play some games or take a walk or whatever. And then I'm going to come back to my application. You know what? I want to play some music again. So let's go ahead and open that back up. And I'm going to try to play music again. Now notice this time, there's actually 2 instances of the song playing. If I press stop, it only stops one of the songs. If I press stop again, it doesn't really have an effect. It's still playing one of the instances of the song. And I can keep doing this all day, and it's gonna just keep on tacking on more copies of the song. And like Seth said, that's really, really annoying, and there's no way to stop it. In fact, even if you press reset, it's still gonna play. So to stop this madness, what you want to do is actually just physically refresh your browser. Okay, so let's talk about what the heck is happening here. All right, so event handlers, right? They basically get attached to objects like buttons. So we can see this event handler right here. This is supposed to attach itself to the up button. Okay, so let's do some annotation here to kind of understand what's going on. Okay, so this, again, this event handler attaches itself to the up button, and that happens when we just run the program, right? Because this event handler is on the outer layer here. So this will attach itself when we just run the program. We, as the user, don't see anything happen because the event handler doesn't actually execute its code until we click on the up button. But when we run the code, this event handler gets attached to our up button. So let's go ahead and add that as a note. So an event handler gets attached to this button when we run the app. Let's move that over. There we go. Okay. Then notice how the other event handlers are actually inside of this one right here. So that means that these 3 event handlers, so the one for the down button, the one for the play button, and the one for the stop button, don't get attached when we first run this. And that's because they're inside of this other event handler for the up button. What does happen though is that they get attached when we click on the up button. Because if we click on the up button, that means everything inside of this event handler is going to run. So that means we're going to get an event handler for down, for the down button, for the play button, and the stop button. So that's okay if we only click on this up button once, but what happens if we repeatedly click on it? So let's go ahead and add these. So these all get added when we click on the sorry, on the up button. Let's go ahead and add that. I'll add that note right here. Maybe we're down here. So the rest of the buttons get an event handler attached to them when we click the up button. So let me drag that up a little so we can see that. All right, okay, so that's cool. But that's gonna happen every single time we trigger that up button event, right? Every single time we click on the up button, we're gonna be attaching another instance of that event handler. So let's talk about that. Okay, so first thing that happens, actually, let me reset that. I did that too fast. Okay, so when I click run, we get an event handler attached to this button. Okay, and that's because it's right here on the outer layer. Okay, we have not gotten event handlers attached to the other 3 buttons yet until we go ahead and click this up button, and we can kind of see it go through and identify the on event blocks, right? So at this point, we have 1 event handler attached to this down button, 1 event handler attached to this play button, and 1 event handler attached to this stop button. So if I click on this up button again, it's going to attach another event handler to this button, another event handler to this button, and another event handler to this button. So that means if I press play, it's going to trigger 2 copies of this event handler, which means it's going to play the sound twice and print out playing song twice. And I can even take it even further. If I click on this again, I press down and then up, I'm attaching yet another copy of this event handler to all 3 of these buttons, right? So now there's 3 event handlers attached to each of these buttons. And this is called event bubbling. This is not something that you need to know for AP CSP, but this is what it's called. It's called event bubbling. And it's what happens when you put event handlers inside of another event handler, right? Because they're gonna get created every single time that outside event is triggered. So again, just to test this out, now we should hear 3 instances of the song if I press play. And we'll see 3 playing song messages. So we see that 1, 2, 3. And then again, it's only going to stop 1 of them if I press stop. So I'm going to have to reset this now. Okay, so how do we fix this? Let me go ahead and clear my screen. Well, the root of our problem is the fact that these event handlers are getting attached to these buttons every single time I trigger the up button event. So to fix this, I want these event handlers to not be inside of this event handler. So the easiest way to fix this is actually to go to text mode. Because in text mode, we can cut and paste code. So I want to cut lines 8 all the way up to line 26. Do not highlight 27. 27 actually belongs to the first event handler. So again, highlight lines 8 up until, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. Hide the controls. Yeah, okay. Lines 8 up until lines 26. Okay, and then to cut it, you can right click and then select cut. Okay, so now you have that actually copied, but it also gets rid of the code inside. And now we can go ahead and paste what we have onto line 11. So I'm going to right click and press paste. Okay, so now we've moved that code outside of the inner event handler. And notice that it's kind of like still indented. It doesn't matter, but if you want to fix it, just re-highlight that selection and then press Shift Tab, and that will bring it back over. So again, that's Shift and Tab. And if you want, you can go back to block mode. Okay, so now if we run this, you can open that up, press play, stop, and then let's test out if we fixed it. So I'm going to press up again, press play, and now we only have 1 instance of the song playing, so we fixed that. But it turns out there's one other bug that we could fix. So what if I press play again? Well, we've got 2 instances of the song playing again, and if I press stop, it only stops 1 of them. So let's see how we can fix this really quickly. Let's take a look at the code for the play button. So I'm going to scroll down to my event handler for the play button. And it looks like every time you click on the play button, it's gonna execute play sound and it's gonna execute console.log. So what happens if reset it, you can press Control R to refresh your browser, or just click this little button up here. Okay, so if we're playing an instance of the song every single time we press the play button, that means that we could potentially have like an infinite number of these songs playing. So what we want to do is we actually want to stop the song first before we play another instance of the song. And it turns out we have a function called stop sound. So I'm going to click and drag that, and I'm going to put that right before it starts playing the sound. Notice that you can actually put in a sound to stop playing, but we don't care. We just want to stop all sounds. So let's, instead of putting something inside of here, we're going to press this little arrow button that will get rid of the argument there. So it's just going to stop all the sounds. So now if I run this and I press play and I press play again, it'll stop the song first before playing another instance. Oh, like everything. Yeah, if you ever make a mistake, you can, you can go to version history, which is right here on top of your workspace, and then scroll all the way down to where it says start over. Again, that's right up here. Okay. All right, so we've got one last example to work through. And then the last is a reflection question that you'll do on your own. Okay, so this is called the Mood Minder. And for this one, we have a partially completed program. Right now, if we run this, the calm button and the tired button run. So let's click the tired button. So when we click the tired button, we see the image change to this nice image of sleeping dogs. The song actually starts playing. We've got text that changes here so that it says, let yourself rest, save your energy. And we also notice something about the button that we just clicked. It gets highlighted. There's a border around it. And the other two buttons do not have borders. So this kind of shows that this is the button that you clicked. The calm button will play some music as well. It's kind of quiet. It'll change the image to this nice calming image. It changes the text to your mind is clear. Breathe deeply and enjoy the calm. And then you notice that the calm button gets highlighted while the other two are not highlighted. So what we need to do now is do something for the excited button, because this doesn't do anything right now. And we want to do kind of the same thing. We want to change the image, change the text, change the sound, highlight this button, and unhighlight these two buttons. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go to text mode just to write out those steps so that we can implement them. So this is going to be for event handler for the excited button. So what do we want to do? We want to stop any music that's playing already. Stop music. And then we want to change the music. Something exciting. What else? We want to change the image to something exciting. And then change this text down here also. And actually we can see what these IDs are. So the image is going to be the main image. And then the text is going to be this main text. Change main text. Main text to an exciting message. And then what else? We're missing one more thing, right? The buttons. So I want to change it's actually the border width to 2. I want to give this excited button to a border with a width of 2. Border width of excited button 2, and then change the border width of the other 2 buttons, tired and calm, to 0, so that if they were highlighted, they get unhighlighted. Other 2 buttons to 0. Okay, so let's go back to blocks now. And now I've got kind of comments to kind of work with that kind of explain what to do step by step. Okay, so first of all, we need an event handler, right? Just like these guys. So we're going to drag that in. And this event handler is going to be for our excited button. Okay, so let's go ahead and find the excited button, select that. And again, it's going to be a click event, so we'll leave that the same. So let's first stop any sound that is playing. And again, we can do that with the stop sound function. And we don't want to specify which sound to stop, so we're just going to press this button that goes to the left. So that's going to stop any sound. And next we want to change the music to something exciting. So if we click and drag this play sound block, we can actually select a song from the library provided by code.org. So just click on this arrow and click on choose. And I forget which songs we looked at in the last period. Maybe it was background. No, I think these are just background noises. That makes sense. If you find an exciting sound, let me know. I'll try to find one really quickly. There was a really good one that we found last period. I should have written down the name. Let's see, whoosh, transition, alerts, achievements maybe? No, these are really short. Digital explosion. Maybe retro? No, these are all very short as well. Transition. All right, I don't want to waste too much time on this since we're running a little low on time. So let me just pick something. That's strange. Okay, that's pretty exciting. We'll do that. Okay, and then next we want to, what do we want to do? We want to change the main image to something exciting. So if we scroll up here, that's just a set property. So we'll go ahead and do the set property. And then we want to set the property of this main image. So I'm going to click that. And I'm going to select main image. And the property we want to change is the actual image. So for the second one, we'll click this arrow and find image. And next it's going to ask us for an image URL or to upload an image. And I already have an image uploaded that we found last period. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that one. Very nice image. And then we want to change the main text to an exciting message. So this is going to be another set property. If we look up here at the example, it's going to be another set property. And the name of the ID for the text is main text. And then the property we want to change is text. And then we can just type in a message. I think last time I just put get hyped. And then like air horn. Okay. So that's the text. What else do we need to do? Oh, we need to highlight the button, the excited button. So that's going to be another set property. So just like what we see here. So I'm going to put set property. Then we're going to find the ID of the excited button. And then we're going to find border width, which should be near the bottom here. And we're going to set that to 2 so that it looks like it's highlighted. And then we just want to set the border width of the other two buttons to 0. So you can either drag in 2 more of these set properties, or I'm going to do the lazy way, which is to go to text mode. I'm going to copy this line and paste it in twice. So now all I have to do is edit those 2 lines. So I'm going to find the other 2 buttons, tired button and calm button. And then instead of setting the border width to 2, I'm going to set it to 0. So now if I run this guy and I press excited, we get some pretty exciting stuff. Okay, so any questions? And if you missed any of the steps, don't worry, I'm uploading the video at the end of class. For homework, you're just going to do this reflection. So number 9 is asking you, what is one thing you really enjoyed about today's activity? And is there anything that you found confusing or need extra help with? Which is, I expect that you probably need help with something because this is the first time we're really talking about this. So go ahead and fill out this reflection so I can read it and submit lesson 7. So it should be complete. I think I put a due date by the end of today, but if you need extra time, just make sure it's complete. Okay, so again, if you have late work, I'm going to stop recording.